Hello everyone! This is Saurian Target welcoming you back to another episode of Hunting Highlights, where this week we are finally playing some Carnivores Legacy. I've been waiting to showcase Legacy for such a long time now, and I thought, what better way to break in Legacy content here on the channel than on my personal favorite Carnivores map, Basmachi Rocks. So that's where we're hunting today, spawning in on top of the spiral mountain to the island's western coast to see what we can find. After accidentally spooking a chunky little icon, our first target of the hunt is a Triceratops, grazing at the edge of a clearing. So we steady up for a spine shot and drop the big bruiser with just one bullet. Now with the self-defense pistol at the ready and the X-bow in reserve, we are out of the mountain's protection and ready to hunt some dinosaurs. Today we are on an advanced rank herbivore hunt consisting of Parasaurolophus, Pachycephalosaurus, Stegosaurus, and Triceratops, with the goal being to bag at least one of each herbivorous dinosaur and maybe even snag some extra huntables along the way. I am really taking my time playing through Legacy to soak up every last detail before I formally showcase it on the channel. So now you guys can get some insight into how I play through mods in preparation for their showcases, and see just why it takes me so long to get these videos out. So we'll try some dinosaur calls and see who wants to respond and initiate our hunt. After several minutes of hiking all the way to the eastern side of the map and getting no responses, we finally do get a return call from a Pachycephalosaurus. Now the call came in from the northwest, and the wind is actually pretty good. So now I'm going to try to get atop this hill for some better cover and a better vantage point to find the Pachy. Once I'm up on top of the hill, I stay low to keep myself quiet and out of sight. Now Pachycephalosaurus isn't the most keen dinosaur. Their thick cranium padding impairs a lot of their senses, but they are still dangerous. And I don't want to accidentally sneak up on one too close and get my skeleton liquidized by that battering ram of a skull. So I need to find him first and use the element of surprise to my advantage. Unfortunately, the Pachy had the exact same idea as me from atop the opposite hill and takes off before I can even get a shot. So now, the hunt is on. Luckily, it doesn't take very long for me to spot him again, so I go ahead and get the binoculars on him to confirm his stats for future tracking purposes, and with the X-bow at the ready, I'm feeling really confident about intercepting him just around this hill. Unfortunately, he doesn't seem to be following the path I'd hoped that he would take. So instead of meeting him around the side of the hill, I head up on top of the hill to give myself the high ground and to make sure that I can see all of his escape routes. Finally, I spot him at the base of the hill and try to steady myself for a shot. But the X-bow's tricky iron sights spoil my fun and send a bolt right into his shoulder blade. Not the vital throat shot that I was hoping for. I fire off several more desperate bolts as he zigzags through the rocky terrain before finally disappearing into the jungle haze. And now we've got a wounded dinosaur to track down and finish off. So I pick up his blood trail and we start tracking. He actually didn't go too far before calming down, but unfortunately, I came sprinting over this outcrop like a charging predator, and even the Pachy's poor eyesight can see me coming, and he takes off again. Luckily, because he is wounded, we do still have a blood trail to follow, so as long as we're stealthy, he can't escape us for long. As I'm continuing to follow along with the blood trail, I do hear the distinct guttural bellow of a Stegosaurus over a nearby hill. The roofed lizard decides to stop and graze on top of a hill, probably to give itself a good lookout position, but it also gives me an excellent shot opportunity. Unfortunately, my shot also scares off the Pachycephalosaurus again, but I know he's headed towards the coast, so I rush after him to maybe corner him up at that beach to the north. Unfortunately, I do miss my chance to corner the Pachy up at the ocean like I'd hoped, but I do see that the blood trail turns west. So I move up along the beach to give myself better wind and to make sure that I can keep a clear shooting lane open. Suddenly, I catch the Pachy grazing near a small pond, but the wind is no good, and I'm more than eager to finish off the poor wounded animal. Unfortunately, the Pachy ducks its head just as I line up a neck shot, and runs out of my sight yet again. You know, I don't mean to let Pachycephalosaurs dictate my hunts, but between this and the albino Stegosaurus, this is 2 weeks in a row that I've let it happen. However, I'm determined to not let this hunt end up like last week's hunt. After trying a desperate Pachy call, I accidentally spook a velociraptor running along the beach behind me. Now, it's going to be tough to keep hunting this Pachycephalosaurus knowing there's a raptor itself hunting nearby. But before I can do anything about the raptor, I hear the distinctive thudding of another Stegosaurus. Luckily, this one too is grazing and gives me a perfect shot. I use this time to reload my rifle and ready my sidearm before dealing with the raptor. I spook the raptor again just a little ways down the beach, and luckily, this encounter confirms that it's alone. Now, I like the Chop Hunter pistol, but I don't know if I trust it or myself less if I had to deal with a pack of raptors. Regardless, I'm confident that I can take down one raptor, so the hunt for the hunter continues. As I spot it, it's not too far out, and I think that I'm getting close to needing to reload my X-bow, so I take this opportunity to try and get the last bolt in the clip out and take down the raptor at the same time. Luckily, that was not my last bolt in the clip as I completely whiffed the shot, and the Chop Hunter does make short work of the raptor. Definitely did not want to be stuck in that X-bow reload animation with a charging velociraptor. A while later, I actually end up circling all the way back near the Spiral Mountain and accidentally spook another Triceratops. Now, the wind at this point is terrible, so I'm gonna need to do some serious hiking to get into a better position to take down the trike. Luckily, I do manage to circle it downwind, but then I run into something unexpected, a Scolosaurus and another Stegosaurus. Now, I know I can hit the Stego's mortal zone, so I decide to go for the Stego first, but as I do, the trike then comes back into range. And suddenly, I feel like I'm juggling more dinosaurs than I can handle, so I go ahead and commit to the Stegosaurus and proceed to take them on just one at a time. Now, I'm trying to be careful to stay out of the Stego's view range, but it keeps getting closer and forcing me backwards. Thankfully, it does stop to graze, and after a bit of maneuvering, I work myself into a good shot opportunity. With the Stego down, the trike is off, and I'm pretty sure the Scolosaurus will be too. So it's just a matter of heading that way and seeing who I run into first. Surprisingly, I find out that the Scolosaurus actually wasn't startled by the shot, and as I glass it for its stats, a Euoplocephalus wanders out of the mist. So now I've got two heavily armored dinosaurs here in front of me. I know the cleanest way to down a Euoplo is going to be a throat shot, but I have no idea about the Scolosaurus' mortal zone. Luckily, both of them are grazing, so I continue to sneak in close while mentally planning my attack. The Scolosaurus actually spooks and takes off at a surprising speed, so I shift gears toward the Euoplocephalus. Taking on FMM's biggest armored dinosaur is not going to be easy, but if I can land a throat shot, it should be a quick, clean kill. While I'm deciding if maybe I should swap back to the Scolosaurus though, the Euoplo actually goes aggressive and charges, kindly making my decision for me. So I whip out the X-bow and actually can't think of a better dinosaur to have charging at me while I reload this thing. So with a new clip ready to go, it's just a matter of landing that vitally protected throat shot. This thing may be slow, but that's only because it is armored to the max, quite unlike Central West's Ankylosaurus. So I back off to give myself some distance, before trying to take it down with another barrage of arrows. I think that crouching will help me get a better shot at the throat, and maybe stop sending so many bolts into its face, but this beast is just eating round after round, and I need to keep giving myself some more space as it keeps closing the gap between us. Finally, after a lengthy, messy battle that I'm not too proud of, the Euoplocephalus goes down. Again, not my cleanest kill, but I can now admire this absolute battleship of a dinosaur. Now, back to tracking that Scolosaurus. A few yards away, before I can locate the Scolosaurus, I do find a blood trail crossing my path. And my only thought is that it must be that Pachycephalosaurus that I wounded back near the start of this hunt. So much has happened since then, I completely forgot about that guy. But as soon as I start to track it, that second Triceratops materializes out of the fog. I go ahead and stick with the blood trail and follow it over the top of this little hill and wait for the trike to stop and give me a clean shot. And one spine shot is just enough to bring it down. With another trike secured, we're back on the trail of this wounded Pachycephalosaurus. Unfortunately, I lose the blood trail at the edge of an enclosed rocky pool, but surprisingly, it leads me right to the Scolosaurus. Now I have no idea where the vitals on this thing are, but as I ready my X-bow, it doesn't give me much of a chance to find out and takes off. Scolosaurus is significantly faster than Euoplocephalus, but it's still pretty easy to run down FMM Ankylosaurs and aggro them in for better shots. So that's exactly what we do. Now because the Scolo is much faster, I can't take as many shots before I have to back up for more space to work with. In fact, I have to outright turn around and run away to make sure that I'm still outpacing this fiery little grenade. And because it is so fast, I decided the X-bow just isn't gonna cut it. So the sidearm Chop Hunter pistol gets put back to work. After a couple of mags, the little fireball finally goes down, and I can take a second to appreciate what a fun little Ankylosaur this guy is. A bit later, in an insane stroke of luck, I spot a Pachycephalosaurus out in the distance where I lost my wounded one last time. Now I don't know if this is the same one, and in my panic and haste I forget to get the binocs up on him to see if his stats match up, but in my gut I feel like this is my Pachycephalosaurus, and as he lowers his head, I take the shot and drop him in his tracks. I'm still not sure if it's the same one I wounded earlier. Again, I forgot to check his stats beforehand and I don't see a blood trail behind him, but for my sake, I'm just gonna assume that it's the same one I wounded. This has been one of the most insane Pachycephalosaurus hunts I've ever had, but it was a ton of fun and was a great outing for securing a good bit of points as we progress through Legacy. Alright, so there you go guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this little herbivore hunt in Carnivores Legacy. And I hope you guys are all still enjoying the hunting highlight series. Thank you guys so much for the feedback on the first episode last week. You guys really seem to enjoy this format, and I enjoy making it. So be sure to leave me suggestions as to what mods you guys would like to see covered in this series, and how complete is your Carnivores Legacy trophy room. Be sure to let me know down in the comment section below, and I will see you guys next time.